Hope everyone's having a good day. I'm here at our Rolling Meadows campus, getting ready for the weekend, setting stage, setting console. And something that I want to get back to doing regular this year are the audio tech videos. The desire behind it is for it to be a helpful resource as well as facilitating conversation and about audio topics and concepts and helping give perspective on that. So I'm excited about it and ready to get after it. So in this video, I'd love to talk about signal flow. So we're about a year into a console upgrade here at our Meadows campus from a Yamaha PM5D to PM7. And with that upgrade came a lot of functionality and higher end plugins, which is awesome, but it also adds a lot of complexity. And so I've been using this year to really figure out what plugins work well on different inputs, what different orders work well, and figuring out how, different variations yield different results. And so that's something I'd love to talk about. So let's go ahead and take a look at the console. So we're going to use the worship leader vocal channel as our example for this. So I'm going to go to our signal flow page. So this is what it looks like on this console. It may look different and have some variations on yours, but the principles will still apply. So you have your analog and digital gain, high pass, low pass filter, EQ, channel dynamics, you have your fader level on off, you have your insert points, your delay point, and your direct out points. And then I'm going to take us over to this page here, and here you can see your mix send pre points and your mix send post points. So the main thing that I'm thinking about with signal flow is the application and how your processing is going to affect that. So we use this console not only for front of house but monitors at the same time, and so where you set your direct out points, where you set your inserts, where you set your mix sends is really crucial as to how much your processing will affect that. Some things like noise gates you don't want to have to go to the ears, but maybe you want the EQ, maybe you want some compression. Either way, the name of the game is being intentional with choosing these different options. So let's take a look at the page, and we're going to go through each little element, and I'll just say a little bit about each. So you got your analog gain. Analog gain is the first part of the chain. It sets the level of the audio for the whole signal flow, so you want to make sure that you get that right. If you don't have enough for the application, you're going to get into trouble on the back end, and then if you have too much, you're going to infringe upon peaking. So just be careful with that and set it at a nice, healthy, middle ground. Next, you have your EQ section. First part of that is the high pass and low pass filters. Those are for shaping the higher and lower end of the frequency spectrum. And then from there, you have your parametric EQ. I'm actually not using the channel version of that, so let's take us to this first insert and first plugin. So I'm using the Portico Parametric EQ. And so a parametric EQ is what I view as the broad stroke and more musical side of the EQing and does the majority of the EQing. Next I have my graphic EQ, and I use that for more fine tuning. And then I have my dynamic EQ. The dynamic EQ is different from the graphic and the parametric. When you EQ something out with a graphic and a parametric, it's out to whatever degree you took it out, for the entirety of the input. And so with a dynamic EQ, you're able to compress a frequency spectrum that you choose, and when that frequency is accentuated or becomes a problem, this will compress it out and take that frequency away. But when that frequency falls back in line, it releases it and allows it to be part of the input. So it allows it to flow with your input a lot more, and that's a very helpful tool. So from there, let's go to our dynamics section. I have a noise gate, and I'm just doing a little bit of that to eliminate some of the wireless noise. And then from there, I have my first stage of compression. You'll see here. That's going to be the channel compressor, and that's doing just the initial grabbing. And then from there, we go to our second insert, and you can see I have that inserted after the second dynamic, and that would be my second stage of compression. So I'm using a 2A for that, which is a compressor that's very transparent, very clear, and is able to get some leveling without being noticeable, and so I really like that. And then from there, I go to the last step of processing that's happening on the actual channel, which is this Portico primary source enhancer. And so the idea of this thing is it's the final little touch of cleaning up the input. That's the best way I can describe it. So from there, I'm going to my vocal bus, and I'm sending to the vocal bus with a fixed post fade so that my faders are affecting what level is being sent. You can see here I have some overall bus EQ happening, and that's more for the deficiencies in the room and the PA, so I'm not doing so much EQ on my individual channels. From there I got a GQ for some fine tuning as well, and then I have a multi-band compressor and a dynamic EQ. I'm not necessarily using them both on each other, but they give me an option for a more broad stroke compression or being a little more specific with the frequencies. And then from there I'm going to my third stage of compression, which is a bus compressor. And this is great for really gluing those inputs together and getting some nice subtle leveling that isn't also noticeable but also allows the dynamics still to be present. And so I really like this as a bus compressor. So from there you can see that I'm sending to my master bus, and I'll pull that up, and same deal on that. I have a little bit of EQ happening. I have another GQ, and that's really just for maybe tuning the PA a little bit here and there. And then I have my fourth stage of compression, another bus compressor, and this is really the final just mastering of the mix, doing the final little gluing and final little leveling, and it's just kind of the finishing touch on things. And so that's it. That's kind of the entirety flow of that one input. So there you have it. To recap, in this video we talked about how using intentionality with your signal flow can help you to solve problems and improve an input based upon what the needs are of the application. So on a weekend you're going to be dealing with a wide range of inputs and a wide range of problems and possibilities to make things better. And so the name of the game is being intentional with signal flow to achieve the desired end results. So hope that was helpful. Would love to hear the ways that you're using signal flow to be creative and solve problems and make things better. Let's have the conversation.